feature presentation.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special micro episode of the Untitled Movie Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Matt Rohrbeck. Alongside, he's allergic to tomatoes, but he is tomato meter approved, Eric Marchand.
Matt, I just can't wait to talk to these guys, get right down to it. We've reviewed the film. We loved it. Are you ready to do it?
Some typical junket ass kissery, but we did really love the movie. But we have two very, very special guests. They have directed music videos for Manchester Orchestra, Foster the People, The Shins, Tenacious D, DJ Snake, Lil Jon, more. They are the directors of 2016's Swiss Army Man. You can check out their new film, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which ironically did not open everywhere all at once, but it is playing in major cities like Toronto, Vancouver, New York, LA, San Fran, Boston, Chicago, Seattle, Washington, Austin. Go see it right now. It does open everywhere on April 8th. There are Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, or you may know them simply as Daniels. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you?
Thank you. Wow, what an introduction. This is Daniel Kwan's voice, in case you guys just know.
And we're on YouTube as well, don't worry.
Right. Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Hello, YouTube.
Guys, it's so hard to choose kind of where to begin with this movie, but it seems like it's been kind of a really long kind of process for you guys. I think you guys shot the movie before the pandemic, and now people are finally starting to see it. I saw that it made over $1 million this weekend in like 38 theaters, which is incredible. And I've been seeing kind of reactions on Twitter and from regular folk and like filmmakers like Lily Wachowski and other people. So I just want to know, like, how are you guys feeling now that the movie's kind of out in the world and kind of the reception it's been getting just in these few kind of short weeks?
Just a normal March. Just had a really relaxing.
What I've been telling people is like the night before the premiere, we had a dinner with all the cast who came to Austin to celebrate with us, and that night was so beautiful because like we were all so happy with the movie. We didn't even care what the rest of the world thought. I mean, we cared, but it didn't matter to encroach on the feeling that we had, which is just a lot of love for each other and just how proud we were. And so like I remember at the end of that night before the premiere, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I can go home. This was the celebration I needed. I'm fine. And then basically every single night since then, it's gotten even more ridiculous how much I'm feeling. Like the sense of pride and fulfillment and
and distraction. And inability to focus on interviews because it's like the plot of the movie.
Exactly. So like we are just like overjoyed and overwhelmed because we make our movies almost like inside jokes for ourselves, thinking that there will be some weirdos out there who will love it, but not expecting whatever is happening right now. Like the fact that not everyone. There's some people who absolutely hate it, and shout out to you guys. Thank you for keeping us honest. But 99% of people like are loving it and are connecting with it and are celebrating it in a way that we don't know how to process. So thank you.
Yeah. How's it like watching it with an audience though, and watching with people that are seeing it for the first time with fresh eyes?
I mean, that's been one of the most validating parts of this month has been, we waited to release the movie so that hopefully it'd be safe for people to go to theaters and see it in theaters. And because we were like, this is a good theatrical experience, but it's been an even better theatrical experience than we thought, It's like a very kind of participatory movie where, fight scenes end in ways that kind of like spark applause, and there's like cringy scenes that make you uncomfortable, and people are like shouting at the screen in a way it's
kind of like Jackass style shock humor, but like narratively important.
But it's narratively important to the characters. But it's been so cathartic to watch people like laugh and shout and then cry together, and that's a big part of what I love about the theatrical experience. Isn't necessarily like that it's bigger or louder than at home. It's that like you're with strangers, and that makes the journey you go on that much more memorable, when
if the film does its job, you're all bonded for life in some weird way.
For life.
Like what I like to compare it to when you're on the subway in New York and you see someone like get onto the subway, he's wearing polka dot everything, he pulls his pants down and pisses on a burrito that's there, whatever, and everyone there is bonded for life then,
It's like,
because
we're all on that subway.
I saw the polka dot guy piss on that burrito.
Is that a
with
good
everyone
sales
else.
pitch?
Exactly. But
Yes.
that is the
Incredible.
theatrical experience. I think Chris Nolan is selling it wrong.
It's like film is cool, but like that's a very small part of it. It's about sitting together.
Yes.
Well, the Jackass reference specifically
gonna
with
bring
the
up the
paper
paper
cuts.
cuts.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that is amazing. But one thing that you touched on with sort of the fight choreography and the intricacies of the script. Are you guys thinking about the editing process as you're writing and as you're kind of putting together the story itself? And when do you bring in editor Paul Rogers into the process?
Yeah. So, like a lot of filmmakers these days of our generation, we had to learn everything because, there was no money to really make things with a lot of people. And also, everything's available on YouTube. Like, we learned how to do everything ourselves: editing, sound design, visual effects, all of that. So, like, in order to make ambitious work like this, you have to be thinking about all those things and being really efficient with your time. So yeah, a lot of the editing happened in our heads and on the paper. But then, of course, what's really lovely about Paul Rogers is he's like one of the first editors who can surprise me as a director or as an editor myself. I think we get so frustrated working with other editors because we feel like they're just trying to keep up with us, because we have such a specific style and we know exactly what the feeling we're going for. And so having Paul be there to not only match us, but also to be the one to kind of be the parent in the room, to like look at the big picture and really think about how it's all going to flow and in a lot of ways doing a lot of the thankless work of the edit, while I get to go and just like pick the one thing I want to work on and just like really perfect for a couple weeks without worrying about the fact that the whole machine isn't working without me. So it's a really great collaboration that we found in Paul and his whole company, Parallax Post. They do something different called hive editing, which is basically like if there's
I think they call it a swarm
editing. Swarm editing. If
where everyone kind of takes turns on a scene,
or it's not even takes turns. Like if there's a problem scene, sometimes they'll just send it to 3 or 4 people and say like, just go edit it, and then we all come together and we watch it together and we're like, oh, that's really great, or oh, this shot I totally missed it, thank you for finding it. And we kind of it really is like a faster way to iterate and create. And the fact that we all 3 of us edit, we're able to kind of have that process. And a movie like this wouldn't be possible with a traditional director editing relationship.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you guys talked about like having to learn kind of every aspect of filmmaking. And I think I read on Twitter that you guys said that there was only 7 VFX people on the movie. Is that true? And how is that even possible?
Yeah, I think there was like a couple rotoscope artists somewhere that helped
and
on like
also,
a few shots.
I think we should include ourselves too. So it's
oh,
not,
sure.
Okay.
Well, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Now that makes sense.
But yeah, we wrote it again with like our skill set in mind and tried to write something that wouldn't rely heavily on like blue CGI shockwaves of energy too often. Because we're not good at that and it's expensive. But so a lot of the effects were kind of the scrappy, mostly practical effects we'd worked in music videos on, and then we got a team of friends who came up in music videos with us, and we were like, hey, we have a budget for our movie. Do you want to be a VFX artist? Like, if you book work, you can leave. But the pandemic hit, and so everyone was like, this is all we're going to do. We're just going to sit. And so a small team of our friends did over 500 visual effects.
That's incredible.
From our bedrooms during the pandemic. I will shout out that like Zach Stoltz, our visual effects supervisor, we've co-directed with him in the past other music videos, but he has such a brain for organization, and the pipeline he created for us, because like we had people
to keep track of it all and assign it, and
and also just have all of our hard drives synced. It was just this really lo-fi, like it felt like we were just working out of our bedrooms and garages, and I'm really proud of it. It's very messy, it's got a very handmade feel, but like it's exactly what the movie needed, and
exactly
that's fine.
That's awesome. There's one thing I do want to talk about, and it's kind of in a spoilery territory, but I feel like I really need to bring it up. It's not a huge spoiler, but I want to talk about the incredible soundtrack. So you guys got Sun Lux, and you have people like Mitski and David Byrne and more on that soundtrack, which is just fucking insane. But
hey, don't forget 9 Days.
Thank
9
you.
days.
John Hampson in 9 days in there.
I love that.
Randy Newman's in it. The flutes. If you hear any flutes in the score, that's all Andre 3000. It's just the strangest amalgamation of musicians, and we couldn't be more proud of it.
Matt, did you freeze?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, he froze.
I think Randy Newman made him too happy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the guy who scored the opening sort of show tune for Cop Rock. I mean, it's gonna happen, right? So.
Yeah.
My Zoom crashed. Sorry, everyone.
Oh, now there's 2 of you in the room. This is exciting.
Cool.
Okay.
So Matt,
Yes.
Yeah.
I was bringing up Rakakuni and Randy Newman, which I think you guys said like right as I dropped out. And I just I love that reference. And how did that conversation go? And did you guys think, because like when I was watching the movie, I'm like, holy shit, like that's a really good Randy Newman impersonator. Like I thought like that guy's really good. And then like I even in a review, I think Eric and I were talking about it, and I had to Google, and I was like looking up the soundtrack, and I was like, oh my God, it's actually Randy Newman. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Rakakuni was probably one of the only things that has stayed in every single draft. We've written like 8 drafts, if not more, and a lot got thrown away. But the very first draft, we even said Rakakuni in parentheses, voiced by Randy Newman, almost just like as a joke to ourselves. Like we like to write like things that we think no one else is gonna read. But the funny thing is, our manager's assistant is a guy named Patrick Newman, who happens to be the son of Randy Newman.
So we knew we had it in.
Yeah,
and then he helped us coordinate having Randy watch the rough cut of the movie with his whole family, and I think his children and his wife bullied him into saying yes because they all liked it a lot.
Yeah, his wife said she hadn't laughed that hard in a really long time, and so yeah, it was surprisingly easy to have him on board, and he was it was just a real treat to be able to work with the Randy Newman.
That's incredible. Eric, did you ask about your question? I remember the music.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to know like where does the idea or the thought process come for like finding a song like absolutely this is a story about a girl and like putting that in the movie.
Yeah, it actually started with Dan Kwan accidentally writing those lyrics into the screenplay and not being sure where that had come from and be like, sounds familiar.
Yeah, I wrote the line down. I'm like, oh, that's such a great line, but I know that's not for me. So I Googled it, and I was like, story of a girl. Holy shit, I have not thought about that song in decades, and yet it is deep in my subconscious somewhere. And at first I didn't tell anyone. I was like, you know what? If anyone notices, that probably means we should take it out. But it was almost like a test to see, of all the dozens of people who read it, will anyone call me out on it? And we sent it to our entire crew, all of our cast members. Not a single person noticed it. And
because on the page you don't it doesn't ring in your ears, and then as soon as you say it out loud, you're like, that's a song.
So literally the day before we were supposed to shoot that scene, I pulled Scheinert aside and I was like, okay, so we need to rewrite these 2 lines because they're just straight up stolen from this song by 9 days, and we need to at least write alternatives or figure out what else we can put in the script.
Did we record an alternate?
No, we couldn't.
We couldn't come up with a better one.
We kept writing things. Yeah.
The alternative is we just cut it,
Yeah.
But we ended up. Did you hear the song itself in the movie? Did you spot it?
Eric, did you? I don't.
Well, I wasn't sure if it played twice because there were 2 moments where there was something that kind of connected 90s wise, whereas like the outside of the one scene where I believe you're in the scene coming out of a dungeon.
Okay, good. Yeah.
One sequence when we're first introduced to the what's under the chef hat as well, where it plays again. Yeah.
You're right. Okay, you spotted them. So yeah, we put it in 3 scenes, but those are the 2 that are the easiest to hear. And John Hampson, the lead singer, created custom versions of the song for us that have silly lyrics. So one day, those might find their way online.
I love that. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for doing this. We really do appreciate it. In another universe, we have more time, but here we do have to wrap. So thank you again, everyone. Go fucking see Everything Everywhere All at Once this Friday. If it's not already open in your city on April 8th, it is. I'm not just doing this because we're talking to you guys right now, but it was one of the best theatrical experiences I've had in a very, very long time. So I really appreciate this, guys.
Amen.
Cheers.
Yeah, you guys have fun. Thank you so much.
Take care. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much.